Hey everyone, welcome to our Book of John study series. I'm so honored that you are going to spend this time here with us today, these 20 days as we unpack the Book of John. Now, the Book of John in the Bible, it tells us the story of Jesus, but it actually gives us the story behind the stories of so many of the Gospels. John, it's one of the easiest books in the Bible to read and to kind of dig into, but it's actually one of the most profound books to understand. There's so many layers to it. We're excited to open up some of those layers for you in this series. Today, though, I want to start with an image for us as we dive into the book of John. And this image I want to offer to you is this little stained glass heart. Now, my mom made this stained glass heart. She probably made thousands of these in her lifetime. She would give them away to teachers as gifts or Sunday school teachers. She'd give them away to her friends and neighbors. At one point, she started selling them for some little bits of profit, and then she would use that money to be able to build wells in Ghana, West Africa. So she probably made thousands and thousands of these. But the thing that my mom did is every time she gave away or sold one of these hearts, she would note to the person that she gave it to this little prism right here on the bottom. You see, when you hang this stained glass heart up into a window, the light comes through it and it reflects through this prism and it puts rainbows all over the room that you have hung this little heart in. My mom, she would point out that the light, this stained glass, it doesn't actually have any light of its own. Its own job is just to reflect the light. The glass just reflects the light that's coming in. And stick with me, I promise that this has so much to do with the book of John. So there are 4 books in the Bible that share the story of the life of Jesus. These are called the Gospels. It's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Now, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, they all kind of have something in common. They're similar books. And if you read those 3 Gospels, you'll notice that they kind of share the same stories. They kind of seem to even copy off of each other. They're actually what's called the synoptic Gospels. Syn meaning one, optic meaning eye. So they're Gospels that see with one eye. But John's exciting because John's kind of on his own path. John has got a different perspective, and so we get to learn so much more about Jesus, his life, and his ministry through the book of John, and it's really fun to read. In the book of John, you won't hear anything about Jesus' birth. There aren't any parables in the book of John, and there's no Sermon on the Mount. But John constantly uses phrases like I am or come and see. And the stories in the book of John, they have these beautiful hidden gems. There's so many layers, and I'm excited to show you what these gems are throughout this series. Every chapter has something that just kind of blows your mind. And this is why it's one of my favorite books of the Bible, and I'm really excited to spend these next couple of weeks with you. Now, chapter 1, when we open up chapter 1, we get to start with this beautiful, multi-layered, complex, transformative introduction that none of the other Gospels do. It's going to blow your mind, and I want to make sure that you don't miss it. John starts like this in verse 1. He says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." Okay, so right out of the gate, this book, in the first 3 words, in the beginning, the author of John is already connecting us all the way back to the beginning of Scripture, to the book of Genesis. Oh my gosh, so many layers. The author is saying that all of this world, all of the creation, in fact, even today, all of the Bible is connected. The word is connected from in the beginning to right here in the book of John. Oh, and we are just getting started. The meaning of this word, in the Greek, it's actually the word logos, which means divine word. So this big holy word from God. Oh, but then John doesn't stop there. It gets even crazier in verses 2 and 3. Then it says, He, meaning the Word as He was with God in the beginning. Through Him all things were made. Without Him nothing was made that has been made. Oh my gosh. So now this word that was in the beginning of all creation is now connected to a distinct person. It's referred to as a He. How cool is that? And this He is Jesus. Meaning that Jesus was with God in the beginning when all things were made. How incredibly beautiful and humbling is that? Then this is how the introduction, this little first verses in John is completed. It says, in him, in Jesus, was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. You see, Jesus was light and life for all mankind. This light that shines in the darkness that will not be overcome. And this Jesus has been there since the beginning of everything. I love that so much. The next story that we see in this first chapter of John is all about John the Baptist. Now, John the Baptist, what I want you to think of is kind of a warm-up act for Jesus. If you ever go to a great concert, there's always a great warm-up act. But that warm-up act, it's never what you paid tickets for. It's never the main thing, but it points towards the main thing. John the Baptist, he is pointing towards the main thing, someone who is coming, the anointed one, God's chosen one. You see, like this heart we have here, John the Baptist wasn't the light. He was reflecting the light. He was pointing towards the light. And friends, let's be honest. We live in a celebrity culture, a culture where people hustle for likes and for followers and for recognition and with YouTube subscribers. We want people to follow us, to follow our page, to follow our Instagram. And sadly, I think pastors, we kind of are included in this too. But what John here in chapter 1, both John the Baptist and John the author, reminds us that we are not the light. We just reflect the light. John reminds us all that whether we're parents or grandmas or grandpas or doctors or lawyers or waitresses or custodians or students, whatever it is that you do, that we're not here to get followers. We're here to point others to the one who is worthy of being followed. That light that shines in the darkness, the one who has been there since the very beginning of all time, the one who will not be overcome by all the things of this world, but one who will overcome all the things of this world. Friends, we're here to point to Jesus, and that is exactly what the book of John does. Points to Jesus and his light and his love for the world. And I think that you know just as much as I do that we are all in need of that reflection more than ever. So friends, there's so much more good stuff in this chapter. I can't wait for you to dig in and read it on your own and unplug all those hidden gems and layers that reflect and point to the light that is Jesus. This is going to be a really great 20 days together. I have a couple questions for you to think of as you kind of go today. The first question is this. John says the darkness won't overcome the light. So where do you find yourselves in your life thinking that the darkness is winning? And how does John chapter 1 speak into that today? And number 2 is, who today can you reflect the love of Jesus to? Thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow.